From the John DeVita Broadcast Center, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Opinions with Joe Rouse on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network. And now, here is Big Joe.
Good evening, Chicagoland. This is Big Joe, and you're listening to Opinion. This over here at Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network. Our call number is 708-453-5114. How's everybody doing today? We got the holidays coming. The weather's changing. Winter's starting to settle in. I hope we're all ready for it. We have a lot we could talk about today, so we're going to start out with relationships. It's something we touched base on our last show, and I'm just wondering, how do they work? You know, I've known people married for 60, 70 years, and they seem very happy. They're in their 90s, but I'm sure they went through some rough times. So, is it good to marry young and stay together forever? Does it really work anymore? Can it still happen today? How about age differences? Is it safe to marry somebody that's to have a relationship with somebody older than you or younger than you? Or how about this one? Here's something we didn't touch base on. How about status? Now, can two people be together that kind of grew up differently? You know, say you got a couple. One of them lived a very nice life, comes from wealth and money, and likes the finer things in life. And then you got the regular guy, the average Joe, as they say, who, just it's got a great life, very happy, just as happy as anybody, but his finances, money wasn't never important to him because he never had it. Now, could two people like that have a relationship, even as we get older? Take me, for example. Let's use me. I'm an older guy. I've got a family. I've worked all my life. I did okay, but I'm not rich. What if I met somebody that was a little more hotty-toddy, as they say, than myself? Could we actually make it together? Because her friends would be a little bit hotty-toddy, would be more of a high-line life than I would. So would I be accepted in her circle or their circle after a while? At the beginning, everybody's accepted, but what happens down the road? Could something like that really work? Or does it ever work? Look at in the film business. They all got money. They're all rich. They're all doing their own thing, but their problem is their egos. What if one's ego is bigger than the other? Does that cause a problem down the line? There's so many things that could cause a problem in relationships. That's why, in my opinion, everybody should just be themselves. You should always just be yourself. Because if people don't accept you for who you are or what you are, then you don't need them as friends. They're not your friend. So the important thing here, in my opinion, is always be yourself. And that's what will make a relationship work. If the person you're with likes you for who you are and what you are, then everything else will just fall into place. One day I'd like to hear your opinion on that. I'd like to hear some personal experiences. I'm sure there's plenty of them out there. Hopefully we'll get some calls today. Now, let's talk about Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's coming up next week. It's to me, it's probably my favorite holiday. Not for anything personal, except for the fact is nobody has to buy any presents. They got 2 football games on, which us men like, and you get to eat and have fun with your family and go to sleep. And most people get the next day off. What better holiday in the world is that? But there's a lot of history behind Thanksgiving. What's it really all about? Who started Thanksgiving? Well, of course, we all know it was with the Pilgrims and the Indians sharing a meal. And that was all the way back in 1621. The fall of 1621. They're not even sure the date. It was sometime between the end of September and the beginning of November was the original first Thanksgiving. And it was a 3-day feast, I'm sorry. And the Pilgrims joined with an Indian tribe where there was about 90 or 100 Indians, and they shared food and so on and so forth. It wasn't until October of 1977 that the 13 colonies celebrated a day of Thanksgiving. It was the first National Day of Thanksgiving was held in 1789 when George Washington proclaimed Thursday, November 26th, to be the public Thanksgiving and prayer. So that's when it officially was the first one on American soil, I guess you can say. Lincoln, on the other hand, in 1863, issued a proclamation declaring the last Thursday of November to be the official Thanksgiving Day of Praise. And for the first time, Thanksgiving became a national holiday with a specific date. Now, I never knew that. We all just took for granted that it was this Thursday and that was it. We didn't know all these changes. And there's more. Because what happened back in during Franklin D. Roosevelt's term, 75 years after Lincoln issued his proclamation, because of I guess Thanksgiving, the last Thursday was going to be the last day of the month, which was the 30th. And people with businesses were thinking that was too close to Christmas because they're actually losing a week. They're losing a week of sales. So they asked Franklin D. Roosevelt if they would move Thanksgiving Day a week earlier. So, because it gave them an extra week of shopping is what it was. To help the economy because everybody was hurting back then. It was kind of like time during the years of Depression. So, Franklin D. Roosevelt announced his Thanksgiving proclamation in 1939. He would declare the date of Thanksgiving to be Thursday, November 23rd, the second to the last Thursday of the month, which gave vendors an extra 7 days of shopping so people could spend a little more money to kind of help get the economy going. So there's a lot of history here with Thanksgiving, and it goes on and on. The controversy didn't end there. It got to the point where they were celebrating 2 Thanksgivings, which I don't see was a bad idea. The only problem was that different families were getting different days off of work.
Joe, talking about Thanksgiving, what is your opinion? And I know that's the name of the show.
That's right.
What is your opinion about this business that these big chain stores have to open up on Thanksgiving Day when these people should be home with their families? Now, I understand Macy's and Walmart and JCPenney and all these big department stores are all going to be open up at 8 o'clock in the morning to start the Christmas shopping season.
Right.
What is your opinion on that, Joe? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, John, it got way out of hand. What it is now, to me, it seems more like a competition is what it is, because the stores started open early in the morning. Now they're opening at midnight of Thanksgiving Day. It's just getting even crazier. It's just it's greed is what it is. That's my opinion. It's greed. It was okay. It was kind of almost cute back in the day because of Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. Open the stores early. People would rush to go to the store. They'd wait in line because they have the sales the first hour or two you're there. You get special sales and people are waiting outside. Or they had, back in the day too, they only had so much of one item, John. Tickle Me Elmo or those Cabbage Patch Kids and stuff like that. Stores only bought so many of them. And every year they have one or two items that's a hot item. And people used to wait outside the stores early in the morning because stores are going to open up at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m., which on Black Friday, which I think was fine. There was nothing wrong with that. But now it's just like everything else we do in this country, it gets out of hand.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, Joe, Christmas and New Year's and the 4th of July and Thanksgiving, those are legal national holidays. And I think that these stores like Home Depot and Menards and all these big department stores, they should be closed so like that families can be with families. And this is one of the problems that we have in this country, that families are not, they say a family that stays together, prays together, and all that other nonsense.
Right.
Okay, which I believe in. But when these stores are open, they're taking families away from families. They're taking the mother, the father, away from the family where they should be home enjoying turkey and enjoying the day.
You're absolutely right, John. And I was going to get to that a little later in this, but now that you brought it up, I'll give you a couple examples. I talk to people about Thanksgiving and what they do and this and that. I got a friend, every Thanksgiving morning, he grabs his family, his nieces, his nephews, his grandkids, and they all go to Brookfield Zoo. He takes them out to breakfast, and they all go to the zoo together as a family. It's a tradition. That's what family's all about, is traditions. You spend the day, they spend the whole day together. If you just do that twice a year with your family, your kids, if you force them, not force them, but you entice them to want to be there. My uncle, God rest his soul, he's got my three cousins, he's got three sons. As they got older and started dating and getting married, you got so many holidays every year. He says, I don't care what you guys do. Now that you're married, your wife's going to want to take you away. He says, you give me and your mother 3 holidays a year. You tell me what 3 you want, and those are the 3 we celebrate every year. I don't care what you do with the rest of the holidays. So like 4th of July, Christmas Eve, and Easter, they picked. So my uncle, as smart as he was, knew that those 3 holidays he was going to have his whole family together and all the grandkids and everybody, because those are the 3 days that his kids agreed to spend with their family. So this way, they could tell their wives, we'll spend the rest with yours, with your family. But these 3 are with my family. And I think that was one of the coolest things that anybody could ever do. Because spending time with your family is the holidays with your family is, like you said, John, is the most important thing.
Okay, now you talk about tradition.
Yes.
Okay, when I first got married back in 1966, my wife, Barbara, God rest her soul, started a tradition among just us in the house. It was her, my wife, Barbara, me, John, and we had our first daughter, Lynn, and afterwards then Michael came. But on Thanksgiving morning, right after breakfast, we would start putting up a little Christmas decorations, not the Christmas tree and all that, but
right.
like statues, or like maybe a lights around the door, or a wreath on the wall,
right,
or something in that manner.
Spirit, right?
Yeah, okay. And we used to do that every Thanksgiving morning, right after breakfast. And to this very day, even though that she's gone and I'm by myself, except with Oscar that lives upstairs with me, Thanksgiving morning, I will put up some decorations. I have a box marked pre-Christmas, and I put up lights around the windows.
Beautiful.
Oscar puts up lights around the door and the
right.
window in the front, and I put up a little tree down here because of because we'd be doing broadcasting, right after this, and I keep that tradition up for Christmas. When my mom and dad were alive, the whole family, the whole DeVita family, and everybody would get together at my mother's house for Christmas dinner. And same thing with 4th of July. We would all get together and sit around the bonfire up in Elkhorn, Wisconsin.
How beautiful was that, huh?
And we would enjoy being together and then shooting off fireworks or something in that nature.
Right.
But what aggravates me is the fact that these places have to be open um, to take families away from families.
You know what though, John? You're right. They do, and they entice them, but the people who are truly with their families, they don't worry about that stuff, and they don't involve it. It's just a shame that it's like an evil. It's like a drug. It's a shame it's out there and it's enticing you to do the wrong thing. I mean, I know families every Thanksgiving they go out to breakfast, they go downtown, they watch the parade, they go have lunch, or they go back at somebody's house and have their Thanksgiving dinner, and they spend the whole day as a family, and that's what it's really all about, is being with family and friends. There's a lot of kids out there and friends that might not have a big family, or might not have any family at all, and they got nothing to do on Thanksgiving. And hopefully, if you have a friend like that, you invite them to your home, because that's what Thanksgiving is all about: is sharing the love, sharing the good things in life. There's people that back in the day they used to celebrate Thanksgiving after, like, if there was a drought, and all of a sudden they had rain and the crops would come back to life. To them, that was Thanksgiving, because they were thankful for Mother Nature giving water to their plants so they could eat and have food to get through the winters. I mean, we don't know how lucky we are today. We take everything for granted. Back in the day, you had to work, you had to count on Mother Nature to survive through a winter or a summer. Life was a lot different back in the day. So I'm sure their Thanksgivings were a lot more important than we celebrate them now. And it's a shame, because we should appreciate it too. Your health. Be thankful you have a roof over your head. Be thankful that you have a doctor you could go to if you're sick, or a mother you got to talk to if you need to, or a father. There's a lot of people out there that don't have those things. And that's what Thanksgiving is all about, is being thankful. So be thankful and share it with a friend. Somebody who doesn't have somebody to share it with them. Bring them to your home, feed them, whatever. Spend some time. Okay, let's get back to a few more facts. And thank you, John, for that, for sharing that with us. Very important. So anyhow, as I was saying before, in 1939, there used to be like 2 Thanksgivings. Because because of the 2 proclamations from the 2 different presidents, they really didn't have an official one day that they were observing it. And it caused a lot of problems, because it would split families, because some companies would give one day off, and then a week later the other would get the day off, so they couldn't spend the day together. So it was very frustrating and caused a lot of confusion, a lot of trouble across the country. And as far as extending the shopping season, it came down to the fact was the amount of money that was spent was pretty much the same. It was just more level. It evened out with the longer period. It's, the shorter period, just more people shopped at less time. Just like everybody waits till the last minute. There's people out there that wait till Christmas Eve to do all their shopping. They think it's cool. There's people who love doing that stuff. Everybody's got their own niche, what they like to do. So, there's nothing wrong with that. That's what life is all about. It's about being able to do what you want when you want, as long as you're not hurting anybody. But in 1940, FDR again announced Thanksgiving to be the second to the last Thursday of the month. This time, 31 states followed with him. And the earlier date, and 17 kept the traditional date. Confusion again. But Congress fixed all that. On December 26, 1941, Congress passed a law declaring that Thanksgiving would occur every year on the 4th Thursday of November. So there you go. Thanksgiving is officially the 4th Thursday of November and has been since December 26, 1941. After like almost 100 years of people trying to switch it, change it, fix it, make it better, or whatever. I love that word, whatever. So here we are, celebrating Thanksgiving next week. Looking forward to it. Spending time with your family. Eating, as much food as you could get in your stomach, laying on the floor with a pillow behind your head while the women are washing the dishes and getting the desserts out. And I hate to make it sound like the women, because the guys, I do it too. I'm the food guy in my family. I come from a large family. Whenever there's a party, I do most of the cooking. I do all the setting up. I do everything. So not picking on women by saying you're doing all the dishes. Guys do dishes too. But we're usually trying to watch the football games. And there's plenty of women out there like to watch football too. So I guess it's 50-50 nowadays. Thank God for that, right? So anyhow, let's everybody enjoy their Thanksgiving. Let's not forget to share it with somebody that you love and care about, and enjoy yourselves. And keep that spirit all through Christmas, because that's also another time of year to share and to give. It's way more important to give than to receive. And if you get that in your head, you'll be a much happier person in life. Greed is evil, and Christmas is probably I guess it's my second favorite holiday. One thing, I love the weather. The other thing about it is, because I love the snow, is the kids. There's nothing better than seeing kids opening presents, running around screaming, playing with their new stuff, and the little ones opening up a box, taking the toy out and jumping in the box and playing with the box. I never understand that, but we all did it. For some reason, we had more fun with an empty box than we did with the toy that came in it. I can remember taking boxes and using them and sitting in them and sliding down the basement stairs into the basement. It was a riot. Or making castles out of them and homes out of them. Imagination's a funny thing. But that's what Christmas is all about, sharing. It's another big family day of sharing. So I got a few sayings that you guys once liked, we talked about before. We could just pick on a little bit here. And one of them is, you ever hear the saying arm and a leg? Well, they say it started out as back in the day when they used to paint people. They used to do like a bust, like the chest and up. And if they wanted like their arms, well, they had to make it bigger, so they had to charge a little more. If they wanted their legs, they had to make it even bigger, and they had to charge even more. So that means they were charging an arm and a leg. For an arm and a leg, so they charged an arm and a leg. And that's where some say that saying came from. Pretty interesting stuff there. I like that one. Or how about happy as a clam? It's pretty easy, this one. That they say when a clam opens up, it looks like it's smiling. So that's where they get the saying is you're happy as a clam, because a clam is always smiling. I'm not sure I get that one, but it's okay. Or break a leg. We all heard break a leg. Somebody's going out and to do the show or whatever, go break a leg. The reason why they say that is because it's never good to wish somebody good luck when they're going on stage, because the opposite always happens. So they say. So the saying started, instead of going out to say, hey, good luck, you say, hey, break a leg, because the opposite always happens, and hopefully you have a good show or a good act or whatever it is you went out there to do. So that's how we got to break a leg. It's supposed to mean the opposite of what you're saying. How about close but no cigar? Now, I've heard that a million times. I never knew where that came from. John, do you know where that came from? Close but no cigar?
No, I never heard of it.
Really?
No.
Well, back in the day, like in fairs and festivals, they used to give out cigars as prizes when you won. So, like, if you were doing, like, a game, whatever, and you didn't win the game, the guy would say, it's close, but no cigar. Because they used to give out cigars as the gifts, which I thought was pretty funny.
No, I never heard that expression, Joe. That's the first time I heard that one.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, they can't do that now because they can't advertise cigarettes and cigars now.
Yeah, they give out little stuffed animals now. So it's close, but no teddy bear. How about a square meal, John? You heard about square meals. You got to have a square meal.
Oh, yeah.
You know how that started?
No.
It originated back in the Royal Navy, where they used to serve the meals in square dishes. So they call it, we got to get our square. They used to call it, you get 3 squares a day, because they used to have square plates.
Oh, boy.
So that's how it is. So they say that started.
So it started in the Navy.
Yeah, because they were the Royal Navy.
I'll have to remember that one.
Yeah. How about quid pro quo? You've heard that, right?
No.
Quid pro quo. It's usually used a lot of in legal terms, I believe, now and stuff like that. But what it means is something for something. This for that. One good deed deserves another. Or you scratch my back. That's kind of what it means.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew that. I've heard it, but I never knew what it really meant. And I thought that was pretty interesting.
Well, I know. I've heard if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Well,
I've heard that one.
Oh yeah, right.
Or one for one.
Right. Or tit for tat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm,
yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, that's basically what that is.
I tell you,
it's fancy wording.
A lot of people. Your very first broadcast down here when you said about is you Saved by the Bell?
Saved by the Bell, yeah.
And the Graveyard Shift.
Yes.
And what was it? What was another one that you had there too? Well, I asked a lot of people that, and everybody was surprised, when I was telling them,
right,
the meaning behind it.
Those are great ones, man.
Yes.
Those are some of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Those are really good ones. How about Raining Cats and Dogs? Now, you heard that one.
No, which one?
It's Raining Cats and Dogs.
Oh, yeah, like it was over the weekend.
Yeah.
You should have been up in Elkhorn. Man, there were cats, dogs, cows, and sheep that were coming down up there. Boy, did it come down.
Well, you're going to get a kick out of this. Back in the day, they had thatch roofs, right?
Yeah.
So, the thatch was very thick on these roofs. So the little critters, little dogs, cats, other little animals, mice, rats, whatever, they would hide for warmth. They would go into the thatch of the roofs at night, especially, for warmth. Well, when they used to get heavy rains, it would make the thatch slippery, and they would slip and fall off the roofs. And people would look out they would see the critters falling off the roof when it was raining hard, and that's where It's Raining Cats and Dogs came from. Again, I'm not betting my reputation on all these things. This is just what they believe they came from. Okay? And they all make sense when you think about it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. Yep.
I mean, it's as silly as it may sound, it makes sense. So, we got a couple more here. Shut your pie hole. Now, you've heard that one, huh, Jen? Shut your pie hole? No. Well, that means like shut up, close your mouth, whatever. Well, that began in the U.S. around the middle of the 20th century. And we believe we got it from the U.K., where the original saying was shut your cake hole. But shut your pie hole, they use it like, I'm sure you've seen it on TV and stuff, they use it. That just means like to shut up, I guess, Or get the upper hand. This one I know you know, John. Get the upper hand. You've heard that, right? You know how that came from?
No.
Baseball. Not baseball, but in the parks when we were kids. If you were playing a baseball game or you're playing any like football, anything where you had to pick teams. Remember, you used to throw the bat to the guy and he'd grab the bottom, and then you go hand over hand.
Yeah.
Well, back in those days, kids, if you're any young ones that listen, you don't know this, but we used to throw a bat not at each other, but to each other, and you catch it towards the bottom, and then you take turns putting one fist over the next. Whoever got the fist to the top where the knot was the winner. And he had the upper hand, and he got first choice on who to pick on his team. And that's how it started, to get the upper hand.
God, I'm living all over again, Joe, listening to you.
Oh, I'm telling you. Well, see, John, it's funny because the more when I think about this stuff and I start talking about it, or at home, wherever I'm talking, I think how much the world has changed.
Yes.
I mean, when we were kids, we never stayed home. We didn't have computers and this and that. And we didn't say, Saturday mornings, we were out the door, running to the empty field down 2 blocks down the street because there's nothing built there, just a bunch of weeds that they would cut once in a while to get a baseball game or a football game going. And if there were other guys there, it was like, now we're going to play together, we're going to fight to who gets the park. You know what I mean? It was nuts.
Yep.
It was not organized baseball, it was not organized football, but we played every weekend and had a ball.
You come home from school, you'd be out playing catch or
I'd be out, that's right, running around, getting on our bikes.
But God bless if you were 10 seconds late after that street light came on.
Get home before dark, baby. Get home before dark. And you didn't get out till all your homework was done either. Just thought I'd mention that, James. Not to throw you under the bus, buddy. But it's changed a whole lot. I'll tell you how much it's changed. Hey, how about today? I was just talking to somebody. She was telling me how she went and picked up her prescription for whatever, an allergy or something, and it cost her $39 or something like that. And she says to the girl, she says, "Well, I got insurance, don't I? Why is it so much?" She goes, "Yeah, you got insurance. It would cost you $140 if you didn't." And, you think about that, $140 for a prescription. Now, that's for 1 month. Back in 1964, the mortgage on the house we were living in, and it was a big house. I got 5 brothers. It was a big house. Was $119 a month. So an allergy prescription costs more than it did to pay for a house 50 years ago. Is that crazy?
Yep.
I mean, it's absolutely crazy. But that's how it's, back in the day, things were simpler. I mean, when you left the house, if something went wrong, you didn't know till you got home, and which was kind of good and bad. I mean, today, if you get in trouble, you know right away what's coming to you. Back then, when you got caught doing something, you had no idea what you were facing once you walked in the door of your house. You didn't know if your parents knew about it. You didn't know if they did know about it, didn't know about it, if they were going to beat you up. You didn't know what was going to happen. Right, John?
That's right. Yep, you're right.
Nowadays, everything's instant, man. Instant.
Yep.
You know exactly what you're going to get and how you're going to get it,
When
boy.
I come home, if I got the silent treatment, I went in the bedroom and locked the door.
Because you know there was nothing but trouble. All right. This is Big Joe, Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network. Our phone number is 708-453-5114. Hopefully you'll give us a call next time we're here, and we're going to take a little break here.
From the John Nevada Broadcast Center, you are listening to Opinions with Joe Roush on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network. And now, back to Joe.
Okay, we're back. This is Big Joe, and you're listening to Opinion at Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network at 708-453-5114. If anybody was out, nobody's out there listening right now, but we were talking about it all week on the radio, and hopefully we'll get some calls because I love sharing my opinion with you, and I would love to hear yours. Well, we were talking about how things were back in the old days and the difference and stuff like that. You could get a taste of that if you go like to MeTV or something like that. Look at some of the older shows that were on. Back in the 60s and stuff like that. Like they had a lot of westerns, cowboys and Indian stuff in the 50s and 60s. And all these shows were basically had the same program. Like they had a good guy, a bad guy, something bad would happen, but the good guy would always come out ahead at the end. And that was the message that they were sending to the kids, to everybody. Whether it was Lassie, there was always something dramatic was going to happen, like Tommy or Timmy, I think it was in trouble. Lassie would come, get mom and dad, bring them out there and save the day. It was always a tragedy, but it always had a happy ending. And that was kind of what they instilled in our minds, that, it's better to be good than to be bad because the good guy always wins, comes out ahead at the end, which I think was a great message. But you guys, if you want, you can always find out. You can always go back and see those shows, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Which brings us to what they show, the movies they show today, which I think are unbelievable. There's a TV show on right now called Blacklist, or I think it's The Blacklist, yeah, with James Spader. I got to tell you, it's probably one of the coolest shows I've ever seen. Today he's a bad guy doing good things, kinda. So are you supposed to like the guy or not like the guy? You know, in the world today, it's okay to like a bad guy. You know, because if he does good things, then maybe he's a good guy. I don't know. It's kind of confusing. I'd love to know what your opinion was on something like that. Everybody's got to have an opinion on the shows they watch today. And this Blacklist, to me, is one of my favorites. And you got to love James Spader, man. He's awesome in it. You ought to check it out, John, if you ever have time. It's really a good show.
What's the name of it?
Blacklist.
When is that on?
It's on, maybe, I don't even know what the DVR is. I think it's on Tuesdays, maybe tonight. Yeah. But it's really that's another thing, too, this modern age technology. I'm never home to watch any TV, you know, John? And I DVR everything. You know, you can DVR 4 shows, 6 shows. Who knows today?
Well, I'm not a person for television. I can't see sitting and watching television. The only television I watch, I watch the news every night, Channel 5, because I like NBC's way of the news, and Brent Miller, the way he gives the weather report. But the other program I watch every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock is Chicago Fire.
Oh, yeah.
And that, of course, being involved with the fire department, being with the 511 Club, and being involved with the Chicago Fire Department is very interesting to see how that, to see what goes on.
Hey, you know, John, you are involved with all that, and you know a lot of guys in that business and stuff. How true to life is that show to you, John?
To be honest with it, the on the scene. Things that go on the scene, like fires and accidents like that. Yes,
right.
that is
right. Well, no, the stuff is all fluff. We understand that.
Yeah.
You know, the relationships and the love affairs and that.
Yeah.
That they do that for, for the audience. But I mean, right. That's what I'm asking. The stuff you see them actually doing, that's pretty real, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, yes, it is.
Yeah, they do an awesome job, I think.
Because I've been involved in a lot of that, and a lot of the different things, the accidents that they have, where there's people pinned, buildings that are on fire, where the guys run in and try to put out the fire, and when they do the scenes at the firehouse. There's a building at on Carpenter and about 35th. It's an old warehouse, a huge warehouse. I would say must be 2-3 blocks square.
Okay.
And inside cinema, or was that Cinema Movies?
CineSpace.
Yeah,
It's off of Western and 16th or so.
Yeah, around there. Yeah. Okay. Inside this great big building, they built a firehouse right inside one of the stages over there.
Yeah, I've been there, John.
And last May the 10th, in fact, to be exact, the 511 Club was 60 years old. And our fire commissioner, who is really a great person, made arrangements for the 511 Club to visit the stage or the firehouse.
CineSpace Studios.
Yeah. And where that black battalion chief sits in his office, and the tables where the firemen all sat. I sat there with Kevin from WRHS. He and I were there. And we sat at that desk. We sat at the table in the kitchen and walked around that whole area.
Yeah, it's amazing how they do that, isn't it?
Yes, it is. But that was Kevin and I. We walked there. Now when I sit upstairs in my bedroom and watch it on television, I say, "Well, I sat at that desk over there."
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've been to CineSpace Studios.
Yeah.
Because I was in a couple of movies.
And of course, the other program I watch when I'm home now. This Thursday I'll be home because I won't be up north. But is on Comcast cable number 19. Thursday nights at 7 o'clock, Ridgewood High School, WRHS TV is on the air. And, of course, I get to see my pal James here on television and me on television. And
what are you guys doing on television?
Well, we're in the opening part of it. In other words, all the people that are involved in with the television part of the station over there, they take maybe 5 or 10 seconds. They'll show a picture of him standing by a railing, or they show me outside where they got that big sign that says one of the best schools by Newsweek, and then they have all the different people that work in the television studios over there on television, and then after that, then they'll have maybe the game of the week of football, baseball, basketball, or some kind of a program that they tape over there.
Right.
So, and then of course at 8:30 on Comcast 19 is the Donna Sports with Don Figuarelli. And he does a half-hour sports.
And boy, he's talking about knowledge, huh?
Yes, and that man will be sitting in your chair tomorrow at 11 o'clock because he comes here to do his show.
Oh, okay.
On once a month.
On Wednesday, okay.
Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, but no, that whole film studio thing is really cool what they do there. I've been fortunate enough to be there because I was like an extra in a few movies and stuff like that. And it's really cool how they put it all together and how they try to make it real. And that's the point I'm trying to get to here, as far as our opinion about these TV shows and how they used to be and how they are today. Yeah, there's a lot of fluff and a lot of like sidebar things with relationships, which is all for credits and getting people to watch and all that stuff. But you really want to look at the show itself that you watch and see if it's sending a message. What kind of message is it sending? And like back in the old days, like I was saying, you knew that there was going to be, there's going to be a bad guy, there's going to be a good guy, something's going to go wrong, and the good guy's going to fix it, and it's going to have a happy ending. Because 99% of the time, that's how all shows were, whether it was a cowboy show or a Lassie or any other show.
Hopalong Cassidy?
Hopalong Cassidy. Or how about the one with oh God, what's his name? The Western Shane.
Yeah, and the Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger and Tonto. How about Cisco, Pancho? But yeah, they all had the same MO. But today it's a little different. It's more, they're more about relationships, and the sex, of course, is involved because everybody seems to like that today. We're a little more open in this country about it, I guess, than we were back in the day. Even though there were movies back earlier than that I thought were a little more risque than they showed in the 60s and 70s. But anyhow, the whole point of this is, do you get something out of the show? Are you watching a show that you're actually getting something from it? Something that makes you feel good. Something that makes you want to, do something right. Even, like the Blacklist. James Spader's basically a very bad man with a very bad history, but he's helping the government basically do good things and get worse people off the street. Now, it's all make-believe. I get all of that, but it's still trying to send a message. And I'm just saying, what is your opinion? See, my opinion is that's a good show. It sends a good message. Because even though he may be at one time a bad guy, he's doing good things. And you know what? It's also sending a message that no matter how bad somebody is, they could always change and be good. There was a show, Boys Town, with Father Flanagan, who believed that there's no such thing as a bad kid because he believed there was good in everybody. So if you're watching a show that you're not getting anything out of, then you shouldn't be wasting your time with it. If it's not sending you a good message, my opinion is turn it off, go to something else, because there's plenty of them out there that are. And that's my feeling about their movies. Unless you're just, even comedies, no matter what it is, there's all kinds of messages. You just got to find them. So, James, we're going to take a little break here. Again, this is Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network, and I'm Big Joe, and this is Opinion.
And you are listening to Opinions from the John DeVita Broadcast Center on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network. And now back to Big Joe Rouse.
Okay, this is Big Joe with Opinion, and you're listening to Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network and 708-453-5114, and I believe we have a caller. Jack, are you there?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, Jack. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing wonderfully. How's your show going?
Oh, I think it's going great. Love it.
Yeah.
I got a good crew here, and we're always having a lot of fun with it. How about yourself? How are you?
I'm feeling great today. I had a workout. I rode the bike. A nice day. Take advantage of what's out there,
Beautiful. So what's on your mind today, buddy?
Well, I don't know. Opinions you want, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, I sure got plenty of them. Trouble is sorting the one right out. But I was just, I think a good thing to get on board with would be let's cut down the unnecessary services and bureaus in our governments at all level, and let's have a little less taxes out there and be able to have more money to reinvest and to spend as we choose. And I think that might be simple enough to do if we could just get a hold of someone with the courage enough to start in office. I mean,
you know, Jack. There's a lot we could do with the government. And politics is a very touchy subject. I was speaking earlier about prescriptions cost and stuff like that. About how much it costs to have a prescription today compared to they're like a house payment was 40, 50 years ago. But you know what's even scarier than that is what if you got an illness and you don't have the money you don't have the insurance or the money to afford a prescription. What do those people do?
What do you mean, insurance? Uninsured?
Yeah, say they don't have insurance, they don't have a job, whatever, and they can't, or they just can't afford their meds. That's what do they do? They're very
well. From my own experience, and I spent 34 years with Chicago police. The poor were being taken care of, and all the emergency rooms in the city and the suburbs. They're never turned away for what they needed.
No,
they don't have insurance, but they're getting health care.
They get health care. You can't be turned away from a hospital. And I'm not saying they are. And I'm kind of with you on this. See, I believe that if the politicians worried more about creating jobs, they instead of even with the government, everybody has to have insurance. Everybody should have insurance without a doubt. But you shouldn't force people to buy insurance. What you should do is create jobs so people would go to work and they would get insurance through their company on their group plans, which are affordable.
Yeah, exactly.
And and that's what it's really all about, is putting people to work. I mean, if everybody's working, everybody's paying taxes, everybody's got health care, everything's better. Now, there's still going to be a percentage of people that are not physically able to or mentally able to work, and that's what our taxes go for, to help those people out.
Well, of course, we take care of them. Nobody's excluding anyone. I mean, first place, at all levels, with the major faiths, they're all organizations that take care of such people. And as a last resort, we go to government.
Exactly.
The government should be there for the final, want to call it parachute or net or landing, safety net or whatever.
Exactly right. And there's a lot the government could do to make things better. Are they on the right track? My opinion, I don't know. I'm not sure. I think they could find a better route, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't agree with everything that's going on right now. I don't know if we had a Republican president or Democrat. Does it really matter? Is it about the president? Is it about the House, the Senate? Who's it really about? Is it about all of them? Is it about greed?
Right.
Is it about greed, and they really don't care? And it's about money. What is it really about?
The president can't wave a magic wand. We understand that. I mean, you and I understand.
Without a
Maybe
doubt.
a lot of people don't. I don't know.
Without a
but
doubt.
he can sure set the tone for policy, though.
Yeah. What else is on your mind besides politics, Jack?
Oh, I don't know. What are you talking about? Everything here?
Yeah, anything you want, man. How about 2 weeks ago with the Bears game? You want to go a little sports? You like sports?
I love sports. Yeah.
How about that Green Bay game with Cutler?
Yeah,
Why did they take him out at halftime? The first half he played great. The second half you could see something was wrong. Why did they wait to the last set of downs before they took him out? We would have beat Detroit in that game if they would have put in.
You mean with Cutler?
Yeah. What I say?
I think they rushed him back too much, and I don't know if it was his doing or the coaches. It had to be the coaches' call in the final analysis. But I know he was anxious to get back and show what a competitor he is, and to show. Especially when he's got a contract year coming up now.
Yeah, well, that's my point. That's where we're going with this. My whole opinion on this thing Was it about his contract? I mean, you're supposed to put the best player out there at the time.
Yeah. Couldn't he have waited to another game, you know?
Yeah. Well, I had no problem with them starting Cutler. He looked good the first half, but
Sure,
you could tell something was wrong the second half. Why did they wait so long to take him out? That's what I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's where I have a problem with it.
Yeah, well, you can't start out being damaged goods and hope to get better with it, you know.
Right. Because now we got 2 losses to Detroit, who we're tied with. So that means they beat us on a tiebreaker. Even if we finish with the same record, we're in second place.
Yeah, we're in first. Our guys are in first place now. So
No, we're in second place right now.
to who?
To Detroit.
Didn't Detroit just lose?
Yeah, but we got the same record, but they beat us in a tiebreaker.
Oh,
They
I see.
beat
Yeah,
us
because
twice.
they're within the division. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
So we lose. That's
Yeah,
right.
you're correct. Yeah.
So
Man,
we're
I forgot
basically
about that
we're
within the
basically
division
in
business.
second place.
Yeah.
You know.
It's interesting that the NFC North is the old NFL Central Division, which they used to call the black and blue or the ice box.
Right.
When they created that division before Tampa Bay was in it, Chicago was the warm weather site. There were no domes going on.
Yeah, but not anymore.
Not now.
No. Even though, how about that game in the mud after that storm? You know, when was the last time you seen a game delayed 2 hours in football?
It was like a doubleheader, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'll tell you, it was pretty exciting.
Oh yeah, it was. It was pretty exciting, pretty scary for a while too.
Real scary.
Anywhere around it. Anywhere.
You know, earlier in the show, you probably didn't hear us, but we were talking about, not to change subjects on you here, but as long as I got you on the line here, might as well see. You know, Thanksgiving's coming next week, Jack.
Yeah, it sure is.
Do you do anything? I don't know how big your family is, but do you do anything special on Thanksgiving?
Do we what now?
Do you do anything special on Thanksgiving?
We'll just have the family together
Just
as
the
much
family
as we
together,
can.
you
Yeah.
cooking, right? Watch some football.
Well, of course we have football, and that's become part of it as much as part of it is the turkey.
Don't eat too
Detroit
much.
Lions are the ones who started that.
The what?
The Detroit Lions started that Thanksgiving Day game.
Well,
I think they had the Bears the first year too. It was in the 30s, and the owner announced. I can't remember the guy's name, but he bought the Portsmouth, Ohio team and moved it there. It became the Lions, and he decided to try Thanksgiving Day. And everybody's telling him, "Oh, you're going to bomb. This is going to tank." Well, the place was sold out, so from then on they had the dibs on it.
And why is
everybody else is doing it too? So
and why
not
is,
everybody, but
and why is
everybody about 3 or
why
4
is-
games we got.
why is Dallas? Why is always Detroit and Dallas?
Is it Detroit Dallas again?
Well, no, I mean they always play with somebody else. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How come those are the two teams that always play on Thanksgiving?
No, I don't know. I can see what Detroit is. They started it,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think we have about 4 games going on. Unless I'm
Well, there's
mistaken.
2 games. There's 4 teams, 2 games that go on, right?
At least 2.
Yeah, unless they change it. But as far as I know, there's only 2 games. And one of the it's always Detroit's always one of the teams, and I believe the Dallas Cowboys is one of the other teams that's always in there.
Well, before we know it, it'll be Super Bowl, won't it?
Sure. Before you know it.
And the best thing about that is opening day can't be far behind the ballpark. So.
Boy,
And springtime again.
you jumping the gun. Hey, come
I guess
on, let's.
that's what keeps us here in the Chicago area. That the fact that spring is so beautiful after winter. Huh?
Yeah, that's for sure. But there's nothing wrong with the winter. A good winter.
No, I agree.
That's what makes us like one of the healthiest areas in the country. Is a nice cold winter. It kills all the bugs and the germs. You know.
I just don't want to see our Bears hibernating too early.
Listen, we're going all the way, buddy. Don't you worry about it.
I hope you're right.
We're gonna
From
get
your lips to God's ears.
What's that?
From your lips to God's ears.
There you go. Well, let's put it this way. I won't jump the gun either. We'll make the playoffs. How's that?
Oh yeah, I believe you're right. Yeah.
We'll make the
Well,
playoffs.
that's a start. You got to take it every day at a time. Every
Then
game
you
at
got
a
to
time.
take one game at a time.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for calling, Jack. It was nice
Well,
talking
you're
to you.
welcome.
We
Talk to
appreciate
you
it.
again.
All right. You have a great Thanksgiving and a Merry Christmas. Okay. Well, that was nice, Jack, calling in and talking to him. Where was I going? Oh, I want to go just touch base on Christmas a little bit, coming to the end of the show here. Thanksgiving, we talked about it being a day of, being thankful for life and things you have in life and how lucky we are to have what we are and who we have in our lives and all that other good stuff. Well, on Christmas, as I said earlier, is a time of giving. And there's nothing better than to give somebody something that doesn't expect it and surprise them. Not only does it make that person very happy, it also lifts your heart. It makes you feel good. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is if you want, maybe some of you high school kids could look into this and do it as a group thing or whatever. But check with your local post office. Talk to the postmaster. Every year, the post office gets thousands and thousands and thousands of letters sent to Santa Claus. Well, the post office doesn't know where to send those cards or those letters. And I believe you could go to the post office, ask the postmaster for some of those letters or one of those letters, and in that letter will be a child writing a letter, hopefully with their name and their address on it. And you can take that letter or take a bunch of letters, read them. Take the one that hits home with you, that puts a tear in your eye or just warms up your heart. And if there's a name and an address, go get a gift, a small gift, and send it to that person. And just sign it from Santa Claus. You will make one child so happy it would be unbelievable. Now I know it sounds silly, but believe me, you'll feel good about it. You're going to make somebody else very happy. It could be life-changing. You'd be surprised how easy it is to change somebody's life. Just a smile could change a life. Just remember that. Be nice. Smile. Be loving. And check with your post office. Do something nice for somebody this Christmas. And see if you get a letter and you can send a present to somebody that isn't expecting it or is hoping that Santa Claus will send them something. Be their Santa Claus. You could be Santa Claus this year. Think about that. How cool would that be? Okay. With that said, my opinion is enjoy the holidays. Have fun with each other. Be good. Don't eat too much. Stay out of trouble. Love your family. Respect your parents. And have a good life. Okay. Thank you very much. This is Big Joe with Opinion. Listen over at Windy City Radio, Hometown Entertainment Network at 708-453-5114. And I'd like to just mention Kevin, the manager at Jack FM 89.7 WRHS, Norridge Ridgewood High School. And I also want to thank Kevin for everything he's done for this show and all the help he's done for me, getting people to listen. And hopefully our next show will get some more phone calls. You guys have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you next month. Bye-bye now.
You have been listening to Opinions with Joe Rouse from the John DeVita Broadcast Center on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network. This broadcast was directed by John DeVita, and our audio engineer is James Rohde. This program was pre-recorded on Tuesday, November the 19th, the year 2013. Be safe, and thanks for listening.